Good morning. Good morning. My name is John Mosley, and I humbly serve as the 21st president of Lincoln University. I am honored to MC or guide us through today's program. And I'm honored to be the president at the time in which this historic day takes place. To many of you, welcome home. To others who maybe this is your first time, welcome to Lincoln University. I say welcome home because while I understand that the Frank family has had many different mailing addresses throughout the year, Lincoln University was always home for Dr. James Frank. From his days on campus in 1949 until his last visit. I was able to have quite a few interactions with Dr. Frank on his visits to campus during his time with the Lincoln University Foundation. And I can tell you that I cherished every one. Never knowing during those times of conversations that I'd serve in this capacity. But boy, do I lean on those lessons even more now. I also have a tremendous amount of respect for his path. Because there was those that said about 2 years ago, what's a basketball coach know about being a president? And I think we can look back to a man who did it for 10 years, and if you're a president for 10 years, you did a lot of things right. And lo and behold, he was close. And I think if he could have whispered in my ear after this transition, he would have said many of the same principles that you apply as a coach to a team become the same principles that you apply to a university. You care about people. And it was true, Dr. Frank did that. I find it amazing now that I get to reside in the residence that Troy and Trent once climbed onto the roof and sat outside and folks from campus would call over and tell Dr. Gentleman, get them boys out the roof. Dr. Frank's career took him out of Jefferson City to many other great things. But regardless of where he went, his mind and his work somehow always ended up right here at Lincoln University. And even in his retirement, his commitment to Lincoln was far beyond financial. Although he's left a mark on this university in that way as well. I believe today's renaming is a fitting tribute to a man whose life was a testimony of what it means to be a true Lincolnite. Our university oath reminds us to leave Lincoln better than it was when we arrived. And every time Dr. James Frank stepped on this campus, he made it better. And this renaming is in celebration of that. I'd like to thank the Board of Curators, four of which are here with us today, for their vision and drive to make this happen. I'd like to thank our faculty and staff for the work that you do to continue the mission of this institution. I appreciate it. I see the men of Alpha Phi Alpha. I appreciate what you stand for and understand that you also represent a legacy of Dr. Frank. Dr. Bonds is the Alumni Association president. We're grateful for you being here today as well. We're going to ask that a few people bring remarks. I'm just going to go through it quickly. We'll be led by Mr. Victor Pasley, the president of the Board of Curators, followed by Dr. Troy, and then Reverend Trent. Then I'll come back and have the honor of introducing Dr. Selma. So with no further ado, here's Patrick.
Thank you, Dr. Mosley. I was all worried about this weather, and hopefully it won't blow my hat off my head. It's just quite windy, but the sun is shining. We're worried about rain. So it just tells you there's a power greater than all of us taking care of this day for us. So we really appreciate that. It is my honor as President of the Board of Curators to welcome you here for this special occasion. Today we recognize a man whose Lincoln University history bears a unique distinction. In 1949, James Frank started his Lincoln experience as many of our Blue Tiger students do today, with the acceptance of a scholarship. That basketball scholarship paved the way for his Lincoln education. He graduated with honors in 1953 and the start of an incredible life of achievement and dedication to Lincoln University. The Board of Curators' action to rename Founders Hall to Dr. James Frank Hall reflect the impact that Dr. Frank had and that he continues to have. I'd like to recognize Dr. Frank's family. His wife of 6 years, Zelma Frank, Dr. Zelma Frank, I should say, and his sons, Trent and Troy. You'll hear from them a little bit later in the program, as Dr. Mosley has indicated. And after the ceremony today, we'll have a luncheon for the family in Memorial Hall, which Dr. Frank was instrumental in bringing to the court, which I'll talk about. In 1973, Dr. Frank became the only LU alumnus to be selected as president of this great institution. Adding to his significance, after his tenure was over, he continued to support and serve as a champion for the university. Beyond his service to Lincoln, he was a highly respected leader on a national level. While still serving as president of Lincoln, Dr. Frank was appointed president of the NCAA, the first African American and the first college president in that post. This achievement brought distinction and prestige to Lincoln University, HBCUs, and all NCAA Division II schools. He was also appointed Southwest Athletic Conference Commissioner, again boosting national recognition of HBCUs and encouraging inclusiveness. After his tenure as LU president, Dr. Frank continued to serve through the Lincoln University Foundation, particularly through fundraising. For example, he led the charge that paid off the $750,000 shortfall to complete the Soldier Memorial Plaza, which sits right behind us, a gorgeous monument on this university campus. And when Lincoln tore down Memorial Hall and built a new one, Dr. Frank drove the fundraising for that project. Over his course of his life, he contributed over $300,000 to Lincoln in personal gifts. He was a 10-time Hall of Fame honoree. He was an Army officer, a veteran, a professor, basketball coach, an academic dean, and a scholar. He was a husband and a father. This Lincoln University alumnus and president held many titles and impacted so many lives. Today, his legacy lives on because he has 4 or 5 active scholarships between him and Dr. Zelma Frank. 4 or 5 active scholarships today that still our students benefit from. I'm grateful. I am grateful to serve as a member of the Board of Curators and to recognize Dr. Frank with this building rededication. As curators, we hold a responsibility to both honor this university's past and help ensure its strong future. In March of 2019, Vito Bracey, Vernon Bracey, Richard Pop, and I were confirmed by the Missouri Senate to serve as curators for Lincoln University. This action appeared to be a divine intervention. We were ready and determined to help LU to move forward toward higher heights. And we assembled a team of talented curators to include Curator Brown and Curator Rackett sitting here today to help us with this task. Change and advancement often brings challenges. In the past 4 years, we've faced just that. But the fortitude of Lincoln University, our students, faculty, and staff, and our boards resolved to strengthen and grow the university has and will always be greater than any opposition we face. The Board of Curators is dedicated to taking positive action, meaningful action to fulfill the university's mission and honor our great founder's legacy. I am proud that the board's many action and close work with President Mosley and his leadership team have produced clear results. We have rebalanced our financials. We are making significant investments in infrastructure to improve our students' life experience on campus. We are taking actions to improve faculty and staff pay. I promise you we're not done yet. We remain focused on ensuring Lincoln climbs to even greater heights of excellence. The 1,000 more students will have the opportunity to learn in this special place and find the power into togetherness that helps them achieve their dreams. As a young man, Dr. Frank took the opportunity presented to him a Lincoln education and grew it into a career and a life that was greater than himself. We have all benefited from his work and his passion for Lincoln. May this building bearing his name stand to inspire the Lincoln University family. Thank you.
Good morning. The program has my brother coming up first, but I said in this place and time, he's far more important than I am, so he should go after me. I want to, first of all, personally, and on behalf of all family and friends who are here, near and far, thank the University President, Dr. Mosley, and the Board of Curators, and the Board of Curators President, Victor Pasley, for leading the way to bring this renaming about at this event today. To our friends and family who have come from near and far, I just can't say enough to address how much this means to me and to us. And thank you for coming here and making this a family plus reunion and celebration. It's truly been beautiful. Now, my brother and brother will have their own thanks to say, but I just wanted to kind of start off with that gratefulness. I just want to say that returning here to Jefferson City some 45 years after leaving here to go to college is truly a surreal experience. Before this event is over, we're going to hear a lot about my father's technical accomplishments as justification for his name being put in this building. And I just wanted to touch base on one specific character trait that makes it apropos for Dr. Frank's name to be on this building, and that is the fact that he served people through his leadership. What we know today as a servant leader, he was truly, truly this. I was born here in Jefferson City, for most of y'all who know, under the sound of the young Hall Tower. As a matter of fact, Dad was coaching a basketball game that night. He had to leave and tend to mom because I decided to come. They won that night. But not long after that, we moved to where I grew up, in White Plains, New York. I said I was born by the river and grew up in the plains. When the time came for Dad to return here to Jefferson City as president, I had a young man's confidence in returning here, that Dad was going to do well, that he was going to handle his business, because I had witnessed him handle his business in my youth in leading others in service. I remember the community meetings at our house, 5 Madison Place in Greenburgh. I remember him leading the Board of Education in Greenburgh. I also remember him leading through service, the summer programs for the youth in the Bronx, the students at Hunter and Lehman College in New York, and him helping to start and run Medgar Evers University. Even as a teenager, I knew coming here, he would do the same thing. And like how I witnessed once we arrived, that the story kind of changed over the years, but one of the first things he did was turn down air conditioning in his office until, and either the students till they got air conditioning in their dorms or in the classrooms, I forget which it was, but that just stood out to me as a young man and confirmed his character. And then not long after that, heard him establishing a faculty senate so that the leaders and professors of the university had a greater part in the university and doing a lot of work with the SGA. I remember hearing students saying, oh, we got a voice now, you know, we can talk. So I think the biggest thing that means to me and stands out to me as a reason, a justification for his name on this building is his service in the military. And Dr. Frank served in the military as an African American, just like the soldiers of the 62nd Colored Infantry. And that is a direct lineage to what he has done. I remember on my own times, I remember, look, I remember in my own service to the military, when it came time for me to decide about decisions as far as my soldiers were concerned, I would always lean and ask the question, what would Jesus do? WWJD. But he would always, by his spirit, lead me in the direction of my father as an example. And so in addition to asking what would Jesus do, I'd also say, WWJD, what would you do? And all the time, it led me to a direction of taking care of my people, taking care of the soldiers as he did when he came here. So with that being said, I'm just again grateful. I'm so grateful for being here for this opportunity. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you again to the people, the leaders of Lincoln, and everybody here as a making time. So without further ado, I want to bring my little brother up, a younger brother. And I just want to say how proud I am of Troy being a professor here at Lake University. When we were here, as Dr. Mosley said, hanging around in the house, and Troy was running around, coming from nursery school, he's going to tell you here, being Muhammad Ali and Steve Austin, the $6 Million Man, and Elvis Presley. Yes, Elvis Presley. You might want to ask him if he could still do his invitation to Elvis Presley. I'm just so proud of him and give him honor. I look forward to what he has to service. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to take about the next 35 to 40 minutes to talk about my father's legacy. I just did that to see the look on your face. Once again, there can't be enough thanks for Curator Pasley, President Mosley, our aunt here on campus, Roseanne Ortmeyer, and Dr. Arnold Parks. I want you to stand up for a minute, sir. Could you? Dr. Parks, longtime professor here at Lincoln University, and Dr. Nate Cook, about 10 or 15 years ago, actually had the brainchild and started the idea of documentation about naming a building in that. So, through the work of the current administration, we have finally seen their brainchild and our dream come true. Okay. Now, the legendary golfer, Lee Trevino, late in his career, he had trouble on the putting green, and he couldn't putt, and he could not explain why he couldn't putt. So reporters would ask him, Lee, why can't you putt? What happened to your putting game? And he just described it as the yips. Okay? So I look out, it's family, friends, many of you who've known me all my life, and I speak for a living, and I speak in front of the toughest crowd in the world, which is college freshmen, but for some reason today, I got the yips. Okay? So you guys just got to bear with me here. So when I get nervous, I tend to talk in the third person. So I'm going to talk in third person today. Okay, so Professor Frank, what is our lesson plan for today? Our lesson plan is two concepts: alternate reality and legacy. What is an alternate reality? For a lot of you who know me, you know I'm a comic book fan. And I love my superheroes, and I love the DC and Marvel universe. There is a thing in the comic book universe called an alternate universe. What is an alternate universe or alternate reality? Here's the definition. Alternate reality or universe, a fictional reality or universe apart from the one in which you live, yet under certain circumstances may converge with your present reality. The Marvel Universe defines this as what if. Okay, so they have a whole bunch of movies and a whole bunch of story arcs called What If. So, what does that look like? Okay, what if the Black Panther was a white guy? Okay, what if Mary Poppins was a man? What if Batman, Superman, or Captain America were women? Okay? Troy, where are you going with this? Okay, hold on. Legacy. We all know what the term legacy means. The Webster's definition of legacy: long-lasting impact of particular events or actions that took place in the past of a person's life. Sometimes these can converge. A legacy and an alternate universe. How does this relate to what we're doing here today? Every time I walk on this campus, and every day I come to work, I live in that alternate universe. We are standing here today on the quad across from Stanford Hall. Stanford Hall, as most of you know, is where our business school is located. Growing up on the golf course as a snotty 7 or 8 year old, always tagging around with Dad. He had his crew. Okay, so his crew was Dad. It was Dr. Cletus Stanford, Chip Pullen, Dr. Nate Cook, and Dr. Hudson. Okay, what if, as a 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 year old, I could have looked at Dr. Stanford and said, "Hey, Dr. Stanford, one day, decades from now, I'm going to be a professor in the business school, and my office is going to be in the building on campus named after you." Amazing. Amazing. Every day I come to work and I walk past the entrance of Swish Hall. Okay, for most of you, that's just where our IT and printing is located. But I walk past the entrance of Swish Hall, and that was where I went to nursery school. That's where my cousins pick me up 2 or 3 days of the week. And we go back to Allen Hall and eat potato chips and watch Days of Our Lives. What if I told you that when I go to basketball games, I park down in the parking lot at Edith Hall, okay, at Duncan and Lafayette? Big deal. Okay, Edith Hall is where our nursing school is now. Edith Hall is where I went to kindergarten and 1st and 2nd grade. Would I have known that as a kid? that later on in my life, I would be walking in this reality and walking in this legacy. The president's office. Wow. Every time I walk past the president's office, Dad taking me to the president's office, and I'm hanging out before school and after school. And I'd come to the president's office after school and wait around. The great Vivian Jones would have me help her staple papers and all that kind of stuff. I couldn't imagine that. And the house on the hill. Okay, Dr. Mosley, when you walk on the second floor and the balcony and the banister, just picture my big brother holding his 7-year-old little brother by the ankles over that banister and threatening to drop me. Okay? But I look at the Frank family, I look at the Lloyds and the Holmes, and I remember the Frank family caravans coming from Pennsylvania and Equipment. I remember the Lloyds and the Holmes caravans coming from Kansas City or on their way to the lake. And I know all of you all. Some of my cousins who were present used to babysit me in that house. And you should remain nameless because I don't want to date myself or you all. Okay? But the countless memories that we have in that house. So every day, every time I drive past the house, I am reliving those memories in present day. That is legacy. That is an alternate universe. And that is all because of Dad. So, in closing, because my mother really requested me to do this, I wrote a poem back in 1997, and the occasion was my father's retirement plan. Most of you, or some of you, have heard it before at his memorial services, but some of you haven't. For the sake of time, I've shortened it, but I think this encapsulates Dad's life. So if you listen closely, I think it's very apropos to this day, this occasion, in terms of Dad's legacy and what he means to us as a family and what he has meant to Lincoln University. This is his story. This is his story in short. The title of the poem is called Jim, a Man for All Seasons. Young man from the Pennsylvania hills, barely shoes, barely clothes, barely food, barely a bed to shield this child from winter's bitter chill. 5 brothers, 2 sisters, and a mother he barely knew. She died, yet youth did not grant him time to rue, for it was then that he learned that life was as unpredictable as it could be cruel. Yet the father was still there, proprietor, taskmaster, stern hand, and in the end, preacher. He, in his own way, like the ice treks after school, basketball in the Decembers, baseball over the Allegheny, and the soot and grime of the steel mills were now his life's great teachers. Then he journeyed to the great Midwest, po' boy from Aliquippa, Pennsylvania on a train, to a strange, faraway land where no one knew his name, Lincoln University. Named for the great emancipator and mecca for our nation's young and colored best. It was here that he would learn, write, teach, read, coach, and ultimately lead, and the rueful memories and bitter sacrifices of his youth would finally be laid to rest. As the student, a dedicated scholar, from his youth. The professor, a molder of young minds, made erudite by the maintenance and maturity born from the smell of molten metal from the steel mills back home that told him he wanted a different and better life. The athlete, a gamesman with an aura of confidence, bearing gifts that were a godsend on which his teammates could always depend, and then meeting a freckle-faced redhead from Kansas City who would become his lifelong partner and best friend. And the president, salient spokesperson of the Black College cause, negotiator, fundraiser, and warrior for the righting of historical wrongs, a visionary, architect of an institutional destiny, and molder of the minds of all of its gifted projects. This was a life of Shakespearean proportion, from the meek beginnings to achieve that which was inconceivable to that which was unbelievable. to stand here today to celebrate and pay tribute in part to this incredible journey that can best be described as a complex tapestry and brilliant and near perfect work of art. The athlete, the educator, the teacher, the leader, coach, commissioner, trailblazer, president, role model, scholar, father, uncle, grandfather, friend. Whether one has known him as Coach, Dr. Frank, Mr. President, Jim, Jimmy, or James, this is the legacy, and these are the reasons why he is truly a man for all seasons. We love
We're going to soon have closing remarks from Dr. Frank. I can tell you that Dr. Frank's success and everything that you've heard today about every role that he played, it certainly helped to have a champion at the house with you. You don't do this job without somebody behind you. Somebody's got to sit at that dining room table and talk through those tough days with you, because you're not sure who else you can really talk to. So I guarantee you nobody here knows you better. And again, thank you for sharing him with all of us.
Whatever happened, you just happened, and you didn't get upset about it, right? Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path, and leave the trail. Life is not important except in the impact it has on others. First, giving honor to God. Without His presence, there would have been no reason for this celebration. I want to thank I want to thank the president of the university, my deep thanks to you for your willingness and your understanding and your love for Lincoln and my husband. And yes, coaches make wonderful presidents. There will be times when you will have hills and valleys, you and Mrs. Dr. Mosley. But the good thing is you'll have more hills and valleys. And he probably doesn't even remember this, but the first time I met Dr. Mosley, he was at a meeting during homecoming, and there was a room full of black alums who were irate. Something was going on at the university that had them really upset. And Dr. Mosley was athletics director then. And he sat there, he listened, didn't say anything. I mean, they were really upset. And finally he got up and he explained that we talked about what they were upset about, and he calmed him down. And I had never met him, but I said, you know, and he wasn't the doctor then. I said, you know, Mr. Mosley, anytime a white man can calm down a room full of irate black alums, you're all right. So I'm sure as president, you're going to be all right. And I want to thank Mr. Victor Pazley, president of the Board of Curators, for his dynamic leadership and his I mean business attitude. And I want to thank him for leading this effort. And he knew my husband. They golfed together. They were good friends. They had mutual respect. So he's not doing this based on what he heard or what he read. He's doing this based on what he knew, what he knows. And I really, really want to thank him. And for answering all my calls about this occasion. And for all of his patience. I really appreciate that. And I want to thank individually the Board of Curators for your decision making and your taking time to think this through and knowing what you were doing and naming this building after Dr. King. I want to thank each of the Board of Curators. And I'm glad that Troy has recognized Dr. Cook and Dr. Parks. And I really would love to acknowledge all of my nieces and nephews and friends who are here, but of course that would take too long. But I definitely want to thank all of you for coming. And I would like to recognize Jim's brother and sister who came from Pennsylvania. Would you stand, please?
He was a great man. Plus, he was a Christian.
Yes. I will forever, and again, all of my nieces and nephews, I just love you and thank you for coming from as far away as California. But I appreciate you. I make for all of the people who worked here when Jim was president, if you would stand. Or give us your wave. I will be forever grateful for this honor being bestowed upon my husband, best friend and soulmate for 60 long and indescribably beautiful years. He was a good and kind man. He was an outstanding leader, visionary, fair, honest, and had an incredible love for Lincoln University. This is where he launched his professional career when he came here as a freshman on a full basketball scholarship. This is where we met when I was a senior and he was a young, dapper professor chaperoning an AKA Alpha Party. He always laughed when I would tell people, well, I was a senior and he was a professor. He said, yeah, you make it sound like I was old. And I'll never forget how we met. When he was chaperoning the party, he came up to me and he said, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I told him that you look like somebody I know. And this friend said, yeah, you were in class with her sister when you were a freshman. And he said, oh yeah, okay, that's what she looks like. And he just came up to me and told me that story very casually. Not, ooh, I like you, you're so this and that. And I said, no. And I said, he's very nice guy. And I didn't see him after that for maybe 2 months. And then I saw him again when he was chaperoning an AKA alpha party over in the hall, immediately behind you. And he simply said, I'm going to walk you through the dormitory tonight. The dormitory was over there. So that was the historic walk. And after that, everything was But no, I could talk so much about this great man and what he meant and what a good and decent person he was. But you really didn't come here to hear love stories, so I'll move on. When I look around, I could really, really, really feel his presence here today. And I kid you not, I could feel it. When I think about the library down the hill, his picture hangs there with the other past presidents. When I think about the historic walk from what was then the cafeteria to Bennett Hall, where seniors were living. When I think about Stamper Hall that Troy mentioned, and that's where I spent so many hours studying and wondering what my life was going to be like. Little did I know that my life would bring me back to this point in front of the wall where I studied to talk about a past visit of Lincoln University. And when I look at Young Hall, I think about that hall being named after the first president of the university. He was the youngest president, and my husband was the second youngest president. When I look at Memorial Hall, I think about his picture is in there as being an outstanding alum. I could feel his presence. He's here. When I think about the plaque that you're sitting on, where he raised money from his class in 1954, he's just here. I can feel him, like I said, and I hope you can feel it too. And he was such an humble man. I want to say thank you for him too. So I don't do too well reading the command line. I think you, or you all do very well. But I just wanted to say thank you again. And I have written a biography. It is going to be published this summer. And it's all about his life. And if you're interested, I'll be able to give you some information about it. But as I wrote the story, I relived our life together. And he was just such a beautiful, deserving, honest, humble man. And I thank you so much for your time. Tracy, you go on the book so we can just see. Tracy is Dr. Frank's granddaughter. And Simeon is grandson. So I will just end the way I started. It's the two quotes that I started with, and they are: do not follow where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Life is really not important except in the impact it has on other lives. Those were the two of the principles that Augustine had brought us. First quote by Waldo, Ralph Waldo. And usually I'm a little better at this about speaking, but I'm really thank you for being here.
How's everyone? Great, great. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the school president, Dr. Mosley, to the faculty, the staff, to the curator president, Victor Pasley. First of all, I also want to say that God is good for having us here today. And what a wonderful, wonderful occasion. I am Michael Johnson, the Missouri State Representative of the 23rd District, and it is an honor and a pleasure to be here amongst family and friends. I also want to say that on behalf of the state of Missouri, that we are honored to present a resolution to Dr. James Frank, as it reads. Whereas the members of the Missouri House of Representatives proudly pause to recognize the dedication of Dr. James Frank Hall at Lincoln University in Jefferson City on Friday, April 21st, 2023. Whereas the LU Board of Curators voted in November 2022 to rename Founders Hall, which primarily houses Lincoln's Science and Agriculture classes, after Dr. James Frank, the only, and I state again, the only LU alumnus to serve as university president from 1973 to 1982. And whereas Dr. Frank was an exceptional leader who worked tirelessly to raise the profile of Lincoln and to secure stable funding for the university, and whereas during his impressive tenure, Dr. Frank supervised major renovations to the campus, spearheaded by the construction of the small animal research facility, and recognized the entire LU academic program to 3 separate colleges, resulting in approximately $500,000 in savings for the university. And whereas Dr. Frank became president of the National Collegiate Athletic Association in 1981 and continued to serve the university, the Lincoln University Foundation contributed $300,000 to the Lincoln personal gifts over the years. And whereas Dr. Frank passed away in 2019, was the worthy recipient of countless awards and honors, as was inducted into 10 Hall of Fame, including Lincoln's ROTC, Alumni, and Athletic Halls of Fame. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the Missouri House of Representatives, 102nd General Assembly, join in paying tribute to Dr. Frank, a remarkable gentleman whose unwavering commitment to education and to collegiate sports continues to serve as an inspiration to all those who knew and loved him. Be it further resolved that the Chief Clerk of the Missouri House of Representatives be instructed to prepare a properly inscribed copy of this resolution for presentation during the dedication of Dr. James Frank Hall at Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri. I am proud and honored to give this resolution to his wife, who so humbly deserves it, and his family as well. Thank you so much.
At this time, I'd like to ask Troy Trent, your immediate family as well, Mom, you guys can come over here to this side right here. We're going to unveil this one. We're going to do a countdown. Come on over. Come on over. We're going to do a countdown. We're going to make magic happen up top. That was just going to drop by itself. You want to stand behind it? We're going to do a countdown, if you would. If you could help me start at 10. Go from 10 down to 0. We're going to do big numbers today. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. This concludes today's program. We encourage you to stick around and take pictures. To the family, we will be having lunch here in Memorial Hall in just a few minutes. But please take a few minutes to enjoy everything. We also have a guest book located right over here in the shade. And we encourage you to sign for the family so that they know you were here on this momentous occasion. As we close, we say thanks for all you do. Again, thank you to the Frank family for sharing. Dr. Frank with all of this. And may we continue to build on the legacy that's been here before us so that this institution continues